History is filled with incredible stories that shape the world we live in today. Yet, many fascinating events remain lesser known, lost in the shadows of more famous moments. Welcome to the Knowledge Hub, where today we uncover 10 amazing historical events you didn't know. Prepare to be amazed by these hidden gems of history. The Great Emu War, Australia's battle against birds. Did you know that in 1932, Australia declared war on emus? After World War I, returning soldiers were struggling to farm in Western Australia. Then came thousands of emus who destroyed crops in their search for food. The government sent soldiers armed with machine guns to combat the emu invasion. But despite their firepower, the emus proved too fast and resilient. The Great Emu War ended in defeat for the humans, with the emus emerging victorious. The Pig War, a border dispute over a pig. Picture this. In 1859, the United States and the United Kingdom almost went to war over a pig. It all started when an American farmer on San Juan Island shot a British settler's pig that had wandered into his garden. Tensions between the two nations over the island's ownership had already been high, and this incident escalated into a military standoff. Both sides dispatched troops to the island, but cooler heads prevailed, and the dispute was settled diplomatically. Today, the Pig War is remembered as one of the most bizarre and bloodless conflicts in history. The dancing plague of 1518, when people danced themselves to death. In the summer of 1518, in the town of Strasbourg, modern-day France, hundreds of people were struck by a bizarre compulsion to dance for days on end. Known as the dancing plague, it began when a woman named Frau Trophäa started dancing uncontrollably in the streets. Soon, others joined her, and the dancing continued for days and weeks, with some victims collapsing and even dying from exhaustion or heart attacks. The exact cause remains a mystery. Some think it was mass hysteria, while others believe it was due to poisoned grain or a religious trance. Operation Paul Bunyan, the axe murder incident. In 1976, a seemingly small incident in the Korean DMZ nearly sparked a full-scale war. It all started with 2 American soldiers being killed by North Korean troops while attempting to cut down a poplar tree that obstructed their view. The United States responded with Operation Paul Bunyan, a massive show of force that included hundreds of soldiers, B-52 bombers, and aircraft carriers, all to remove one tree. Fortunately, North Korea backed down, but it remains one of the most tense moments of the Cold War. The Battle of Los Angeles, a false alarm or alien encounter? On the night of February 24, 1942, just months after the attack on Pearl Harbor, the skies over Los Angeles were lit up with searchlights and anti-aircraft fire. The U.S. military believed they were under attack by Japanese forces, but after hours of chaos, no enemy planes were found. The event, known as the Battle of Los Angeles, was officially attributed to a false alarm, but some conspiracy theorists believe it could have been an encounter with UFOs. To this day, the true cause of the incident remains unclear. The Cadaver Synod, when a dead pope was put on trial. One of the most bizarre events in church history occurred in 897 AD, when Pope Stephen VI ordered the body of his predecessor, Pope Molasses, to be exhumed and put on trial. Known as the Cadaver Synod, this macabre event saw the deceased pope's corpse propped up in a courtroom while charges were read against him. The trial ended with Pope Molasses being found guilty, his body stripped of its papal vestments and thrown into the Tiber River. The spectacle shocked Europe and remains one of the most bizarre moments in the history of the Catholic Church. The explosion of Mount Tambora, the year without a summer. In April 1815, Mount Tambora in Indonesia erupted in the largest volcanic explosion in recorded history, killing tens of thousands of people. The eruption spewed so much ash into the atmosphere that it caused global temperatures to drop, leading to what became known as the year without a summer. The volcanic winter caused widespread crop failures, famine, and economic disaster. Even Mary Shelley's Frankenstein was inspired by the gloomy, ash-filled skies during this period. The CIA's Operation Midnight Climax mind control experiments. During the Cold War, the CIA embarked on some bizarre and questionable experiments as part of their MK Ultra program, which aimed to develop mind control techniques. One of the strangest offshoots was Operation Midnight Climax, where the CIA set up safe houses in San Francisco and New York, hiring prostitutes to lure unsuspecting men into rooms where they were unknowingly dosed with LSD. These unwitting participants were observed through hidden cameras to study the effects of the drug. The experiments, which continued for years, were highly unethical and remain one of the most disturbing chapters in United States intelligence history. The Tulip Mania, the first economic bubble. In the early 60s, the Netherlands experienced what is widely considered the first speculative economic bubble, all thanks to tulip bulbs. Tulip mania saw the price of tulip bulbs rise to absurd levels, with some bulbs being sold for more than the cost of a house. When the bubble burst, many investors were left ruined. While it may seem strange today, tulip mania serves as an early lesson in the dangers of speculative investments, a phenomenon we still see today. The Great Molasses Flood, a sticky disaster. In January 1919, a 2.3 million-gallon tank of molasses burst in the north end of Boston, sending a sticky wave of syrup down the streets at 35 miles per hour. The flood of molasses destroyed buildings, killed 21 people, and injured 150 others. The Great Molasses Flood remains one of the most bizarre and tragic industrial accidents in United States history. It also had long-lasting effects on safety regulations for storage tanks and industrial practices. From the strange to the surreal, history is filled with incredible events that often go unnoticed. Which one surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the Knowledge Hub for more hidden stories from our past